Melissa, thank you so much for being here on the Pet Pig podcast. I am very excited to talk to you today. You are the co-founder and CMO of Force of Nature, and
Yep.
I just want to say that I looked back to see when my first order of uh, the all-purpose spray was, and it was in 2019. And so
Oh, wow.
I have
Thank
been using
you.
I've been using it. I love it. And we'll get into the reasons why I love your product so much, but so just thank you for being here, first of all.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
So, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? Do you happen to be an animal lover?
Yes, I am a major dog lover. I've had a dog for probably 97% of my life. I've even had a dog when I wasn't allowed to have a dog, like in rental apartment situations that are explicitly no dogs. I'm like, I will have a dog. I cannot live without a dog. So I have a dog named Oliver. He's a border collie retriever mix who's like completely insane and tries to hurt us all the time, but he's just the best and he loves me best of all in the family, which is like a really great situation to be
Yeah,
in.
that's the
I'm sure
best.
you know.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I have, my Instagram and TikTok are full of like wombats and corgis and pigs, of course. What's the Mr. Donkers, the donkey? It's just such a trap of animal cuteness that I find myself wasting time in. So
Hmm.
anyway, yes, you
Yeah,
get it.
well, it could be worse. Like it could totally be worse. I mean, when I look at some of the ways that people waste time on social media, I'm like, oh my
Good
goodness.
point.
At least watching animals is so cathartic. It's
It's
like
so true. Hmm.
comforting
Yes.
and it yeah, so it animals make my day better and my feed is the same. It's of course a ton of pigs, but it's also I love health related topics. I love, just natural products, natural things. So this is so obviously I follow your company and um and so I love that. I love being able to learn. I love getting to be able to see the behind the scenes type of things. And in preparation for this interview, I read your website backwards and forwards, and I was impressed all over again.
Oh, thank you.
So what inspired the idea for Force of Nature, the company? Why was it started?
It's interesting because it came from a few different directions. I think it's like the ultimate serendipity. So professionally, my background was in new product development, which is really fun because it's all about figuring out what needs people have that are unmet and how you can develop products to make their everyday lives easier. So my job was to figure out, what can we make better, then work with like research and development folks to develop those products. I worked in at big CPG companies like P&G, so it was like hair care, hair color, men's grooming, stuff like that. But it's always the same process, is kind of figuring out what people hate about the product or the experience, and then how you can make that better through innovation. So I always loved doing that. I thought it was like, I don't know, I'm very curious about people and it's just really suited to me. And there's a creative part because you figure out, like, well, how are you going to talk about the innovation, all of that good stuff. So I was doing that. And then I left when my son was a toddler. It was like pretty hardcore travel that I didn't want to do anymore when he was a toddler. But I started working with some other um, new product developer friends who were looking at different technologies that were kind of ripe for commercialization. There's a lot of like cool stuff in the industrial space that if you have somebody look at it through a consumer lens, it would be like, oh, we could make this change and it would be great for people to use in their homes. So that's kind of what we were looking around at. And so that's sort of like the professional thing. And on the personal side, I had become really careful about the products we used in our home, like a lot of people do. It's a change point because you're like, oh, if I spray the pacifier and then he puts it in his mouth, or, he touches high chair tray and then touches his eyes, like that, you just become much more aware of the safety of the products around you. So I had made a lot of changes in our household. Like I got rid of all fragranced products, that sort of thing. So that was sort of like the personal backdrop, the professional one. And then there was one day in particular, it all sort of converged together. My son was in preschool. I got a call from the preschool. He had run into this play structure, just like smack right into it, which apparently was not the first time that he had done it, but which I don't know why you would keep doing. You would think it would be a hard lesson. Anyway, he ended up getting stitches in his forehead. And I was chatting with the nurse about how wounds heal. And she was talking about there's these products in the wound care space that use this ingredient called hypochlorous acid, which is the active ingredient in what became force of nature. So I started doing some research and I learned about hypochlorous acid and how it's like really good at killing pathogens, but it's really gentle on tissue. So you can, it's used in like eye care products, veterinary care products, which of course we can talk more about. Um, and it's a really cool substance. So circling back to the professional side, it ends up that one of the technologies that this group of people was looking at was called electrolyzed water, which is basically the industrial way to make hypochlorous acid. So everything sort of came together in terms of like we found this technology that looked really interesting. I had a personal experience with it where I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. And we just kind of took it from there and said, like, hey, there's got to be an application that we can use this for in the consumer space.
Wow.
Totally crazy, I know.
Uh, wow. So, but I can relate, and I think a lot of people can relate to the shift that you take when you do have a baby. That we're doing everything we can to protect this little life. So it's amazing that that took you all the way here. Uh, and so I think a lot of people can relate to that. So that's really cool. Now, you already mentioned kind of, but what was that initial product that started everything?
Okay, so it's probably the one it sounds like that you got in 2019, which would have been our first generation one. So thank you, thank you, thank you for giving us a try. Um, so so in the industrial space, these it's made in these big tanks. It's called electrolyzed water. And basically what it is it's salt and water, and an electrical current is passed through it, and it changes the chemistry of the solution into two new ingredients. One is a cleaner. It's actually a very common cleaning ingredient that's used in detergents. It's used in toothpaste, like at different concentrations and all sorts of different things. And then the second one is a disinfectant, which is the germ killer. So it makes a cleaner and then a disinfectant. Um, and so in the industrial space, they have always made these two things separately. So there'll be a tank that makes the cleaner and then a tank that makes the disinfectant. And this is like big, huge industrial size tanks. So what we did was we basically said, hey, consumers actually really want those two things together. They don't really want to separate a cleaning product from a disinfecting product. So we're going to make it all together in one solution. And it's essentially the same technology, with a few differences on the chemistry side, but we sized it down into like a little countertop appliance. So I mean, you've seen it's probably a little smaller than a wine bottle, would you say,
Hmm.
sitting on your counter.
Yeah.
So it's called Force of Nature. It's a little appliance. You fill it up with tap water, and then you squeeze in a little capsule of salt, water, and vinegar. You push the button. The electricity does its magic, and it ends up about 8 minutes ish later. It ends up as a multi-purpose cleaner and disinfectant that kills 99.9% of germs. So it even kills like norovirus, which everyone cares about right now, by the way. I'm sure you've hopefully you've not experienced it
W-
yourself.
We have
But a
not.
lot of people are flu, MRSA, staph, like all of that stuff. But it's so safe. You could like spray it on your hands and it's perfectly safe.
And that's where I was. I believe Just Ingredients, if you know who
Oh,
that is,
yes, I
Carlin.
do.
I followed her for years, and so I saw her using it to clean her playroom. And
Yes.
I was like, okay. And then she showed how you can spray a kid's toy and you can give it to the kid. That cleaner is not going to hurt them in any way. There are no toxins in it that are going to harm them. And I saw that and I was like, I was using Clorox bleach wipes
A
to
lot of people, yeah,
a lot of people use them. I was using them to clean the floor because I have piglets in my house in a space, and I, you know, you're cleaning up poop
yeah,
and pee
yep,
and so like and other debris. So I was trying to do the right thing by keeping my house clean, but I had no clue about what those chemicals were doing to us and our family, and also my piglets. I was, they were tiny babies. And
I know. Oh,
so when I
but
saw
how would
her,
you know?
yes, exactly, exactly. So when I saw her using them on the toys, I thought, oh, this this kills germs and it
Yeah,
cleans. Okay, let's give it a shot. So I did, and my husband is a huge skeptic. He used to be. He's not so much anymore. But he's not a huge animal lover, and so he really wanted me to make sure I did the job right when I was cleaning up
yeah,
after them. But I don't know, the kind of interesting thing about it is after you make the solution, it has a slightly bleach smell to it.
yes. Do you,
So,
so there's something you may not know about it, which I think is kind of interesting, is that hypochlorous acid, which again is the active ingredient that kills germs, that's actually a type of chlorine. So there are different types of chlorine. Sodium hydroxide is, sorry, sodium hypochlorite is what bleaches. So that's a type of chlorine. Hypochlorous acid is another type. And it's actually, this is so crazy, but hypochlorous acid is actually the ingredients in bleach that gives it its germ killing power. So if you have the wrong pH, for example, you could make, instead of hypochlorous acid, you could make bleach. So there, it all comes down to the pH level. So hypochlorous acid is actually more powerful than bleach, but you don't need nearly as much to do the job, which is why bleach is so dangerous because you need a lot of it to kill the germs. Hypochlorous acid is much more powerful and you need a lot less of it. So I forget if I mentioned this, but you might have seen this on the site. The other super interesting nugget, there's so many interesting nuggets on hypochlorous acid, is that it's the same substance that your white blood cells produce to fight infection in your body. So, like
oh,
you and
I
I
do remember
are,
seeing that. Yeah.
yes, yes. So, it's a really fascinating, it's probably the world's oldest disinfectant, actually, because it's, in all of us. Killing germs. So, yeah, like you're around somebody who's coughing, sneezing, your hypochlorous acid is a neutrophil and it's kicking it into high gear to protect you from getting sick. But anyway, yeah, this getting back to your point, it has sort of a light chlorine scent, like a
Mhm.
swimming pool scent, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because it's a type of chlorine, but much safer than bleach, another type.
Fascinating.
Yes,
Fascinating. Okay. That is so neat. And that does explain a lot. But that little hint of a smell is what let me convince my husband that it would work.
yes, that something different happened, right? Because you're like,
Mhm.
how can you change salt, water, and vinegar into something that
Exactly.
can kill MRSA? Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I see what you
Exactly.
mean. Yeah.
So that was good. And so we've honestly never looked back. We've been using it ever since. I love it. I feel like it's it just makes me feel so much more comfortable because while I'm on the floor spraying the floor, wiping it down, my piglets are licking up what I've sprayed. They're
Yep.
licking it up
Of
because they're
course.
they're curious. They want to eat. They want to put things in their mouths. They're testing to see if it's food. So they're constant. So if I had something that was more toxic, obviously I would be very worried about that. but
Yes.
I don't have to. So it kind of it takes that stress off my shoulders, which is really nice.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's great. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes if I take Oliver out and he gets, I don't know, I mean, you know, dogs, they can like roll in something horrible,
Mhm.
or he gets really dirty for some other reason. I'll spray it on like a paper towel and, you know, rub his body, his legs,
Mhm.
like what his paws, whatever got dirty, and I don't worry about it. It's actually there's this product called Vetericin,
Yeah.
that's a veterinary care product. And so they use hypochlorous acid because, you know, if a dog has like a hot spot or any animal does, they lick it, like you said. And so it has to be something that is going to be safe for them if they're going to go at it, which they all always do.
Yes. Yes. Oh, very interesting. I did not know that. I do use Vetericin sometimes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you should check the label because a lot of them I think are the exact same parts per million, the same concentration as Force of Nature.
Ooh,
It's probably the same thing. But yeah, hypochlorous acid, our good friend, is right in that bottle too.
very cool. Okay. So we kind of talked about how you came up with this, and I'm just fascinated because I am not a sciencey person. I am going to take your word for it that this is good stuff. You know what I mean? Like my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So so but I'm so glad some people's does because this is so important for us. Um now, when it comes to other brands, we've teased about it a little bit, but what is it really that makes them unsafe?
Okay, so there are there are lots of ingredients in cleaning products that are problematic from a health and safety standpoint. So, you know, things like dyes, um, which, you know, that was in the media again recently. The red dyes are being pulled. Surfactants, which are the ingredients that make products suds, preservatives. So all of lots of them like that. But and one of the interesting things to me was that nobody had really been looking at the long-term impact of exposure to that, and that also you assume that if something's on a store shelf that it's been tested for safety, and it's actually in the cleaning product category, it's not. It's just, well, first of all, a lot of it doesn't have to be tested, and then they're really just so because it's not overseen by any sort of governmental body, with the exception of the EPA registered disinfectants, which I can tell you about if you're interested. But really, the stuff sitting on the shelf, the manufacturers are just testing it to make sure it does what they say it does on the label. They're not testing it for any sort of health risk that can happen. And they're definitely not looking at what happens after exposure after years and years. And they're certainly not looking at what happens when you expose kids and pets to it. But there was some more recent research over the last maybe 5 years or so that has done that, looked at the long term health impact of some of the ingredients. And it's focused on pretty much focused on three ingredient classes, so or categories: bleach, quaternary ammonium compounds, which their shortcut is called quats. Quats and bleach have been the disinfectants, so the germ killers used for like over 50 years, and they're in most everything on the shelf that says that it kills germs. Um, so bleach, quats, and then fragrances. So there's been some long-term studies, longitudinal studies about cleaning product exposure over time. And there a few stats from that are especially startling to me. So one of them found that over time, chronic exposure to these three ingredients is equal to smoking a pack a day. So the lung damage is the same as smoking a pack a day of cigarettes. So again, this is like over years and years and years. And that's on adults. So think about that exposure on kids. Same thing, chronic exposure has been linked to having a 45% increase in developing COPD. So like this stuff is really hard on the lungs. Um, Even young children, this was once on kids, young children frequently exposed to cleaning products can be up to 50% more likely to have asthma. Um, and then, in fact, the CDC has recommended that cleaning products with bleach, quats, and asthma not be used around anyone with asthma and allergies, which, by the way, is 40% of kids and 30% of adults. So, in that stuff, it's almost impossible to find on a store shelf cleaning products that don't have scents, quats, or bleach. Like, virtually impossible. But people wouldn't know this because, you go to the shelf and you just assume, okay, this is going to be fine. If I follow the directions, so like I rinse it, but a lot of people don't even do that. Like, and sometimes the instructions will say wear gloves. They don't do that.
Mhm.
So it's, people are trying to do the right thing and they have these assumptions about safety that just aren't true. And the whole fragrance thing is crazy. I don't know if you know anything about the whole fragrance industry and how that works.
Yeah, our family does no fragrance. We do nothing.
Good.
We've
So
been
you know.
doing that for probably since like around 2015, 2016. And you are so right. Those smells from any cleaning products, I cannot walk down the aisle at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Even a
I'm
lot
the
of times, like
same.
one aisle over, I still can't handle it.
Yep.
My kids are like, oh, they run through the
Oh,
aisle because we're not used to them. So they're
yeah.
even more shocking. But yeah, share about the fragrance.
Well, it's so the fragrance industry, I'm sure you know, not regulated at all. So what will happen is because a fragrance blend is considered a trade secret.
Right.
So they don't have to disclose it on labels. So if you look on your label, it'll have one word on it, which is fragrance, but there could be like a cocktail of dozens of ingredients sitting under that. The main one that I think that got me to stop using anything fragranced in my house is that a lot of fragrances use phthalates, which that they use it to help the scent last. So like in your deodorant or your shampoo or whatever, people like nice fragrances and they want them to last, and phthalates do that. But they're known hormone disruptors and they've been linked to all sorts of stuff. So they've been linked to cancer, reproductive toxicity, developmental toxicity, asthma, all of that stuff. So, um, and you don't know that it's in there because it's not required to be listed on labels. There was this study that showed that something like 75% of the products that have fragrances also have phthalates, again, not on labels. And the CDC has reported that phthalates can be found in the blood of most Americans. Of course, more in women, just because I feel like that's what always we find.
Yeah.
um, but anyway, so like you, no, I just no can't do the fragrances
Hmm.
anymore. I feel like that's a really it's a bad one, and they're so hard to avoid, especially in this category, the cleaning category, because like your husband, there's a cue that something works,
Hmm.
right? And it's smell, and sometimes it could be chlorine or bleach, sometimes it's like a lemon scent, whatever it is. If there's a scent, like we've been trained that that's clean, but it's not.
Yeah, it's so funny because the laundry detergent that I use is I use like Norwex or I forget the other one I use, but it has absolutely no smell, none. So when we wash our clothes don't have a smell. There's the absence of dirt
Hmm.
is just the cleanliness. And um we have family members who will give my boys clothes or will like hand me downs and things. And so when we wash those clothes with our clothes, everything smells
Oh, yes,
because
totally.
because that fragrance is like a barb that sticks to the fabric and it's really hard to get rid of. So
It
it
is.
takes us like close to 10 washes to get
Oh,
those fragrancy phthalates, everything out of our clothes. And so
that's crazy. That's a
yeah,
lot.
and they stick to our skin too. So they're absorbed through our skin. And
Yep.
it's just like, I have two boys, like you said, like these are endocrine disruptors. They can change our physical makeup and our hormones. So I don't need that in my boys' bloodstream, all that extra so-called estrogen or fake estrogen. So
Yep.
we're
I'm
trying to
so
raise
with you.
boys.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I totally agree. Yep.
So it's so nice when this is one of the things I was thinking about. Like there are so many really nice companies out there like yours that looked around and thought, you know, where's this product? Where's a cleaning product that doesn't have the toxins, that doesn't have the fragrance, that doesn't have the chemicals that are going to harm our bodies, harm the environment, our animals, and then they go make it. Like the our toothpaste, our deodorant, our detergent, like most of the things in our home, we can't buy at Costco, right? We can't
Yeah.
buy it there. We buy it online from an actual small company that made it out of necessity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I have to say it's nice to be able to offer something that's really, really different.
mhm,
It's fun and like you feel like you're able to make a difference.
mhm, yeah. When my husband's company, when we went through COVID and all of that, they really amped up their cleaning supplies.
Mm,
And we would walk in there and we couldn't breathe. My
mm.
husband would have to like eat in his truck because the
Oh, I
smell of the
bet.
products was just really bad. So
Yeah.
I talked him into taking in several of the electrolyzers from you guys and the sprays.
Oh,
So they completely switched over to Force
oh,
of
that's
Nature
awesome.
there too. And
Nice.
I had to put together a small presentation so that they could understand that it does work, that it's easy, right? And it's one product. It's one
Yes.
product, which is something else I wanted to talk about. Um, you guys, what products can the all-purpose spray potentially just replace?
It's interesting that you say that too, because I just finished this survey among customers to try to figure out what are the things that you love most about the product. Um, and I figured it would be, like I like being able to kill germs safely, that sort of, and that came up. But the second strongest one was that you can replace all your cleaning products. There's the simplicity of it.
Mhm,
But so we knew when we were starting this that people always, what kept people continuing to use the old toxic stuff was efficacy. So it's like, they would reserve. Um, they would try not to use it unless there was like a super germy occasion. So you wait till like you use the safer natural stuff. And then when somebody in the house gets sick or, a pet has an accident or whatever, you bring out like the hazmat stuff. So we knew that the perception was the safer stuff just isn't as effective. So we did like very early on, we did third party lab testing on our stuff versus the top cleaners for glass cleaners, deodorizer, grease, and rug cleaners. And it came back as just as effective as the top brands, but with no toxic chemicals. So you don't have a trade off when you're cleaning glass or grease or what have you. So you can use it to replace. All purpose cleaners, kitchen cleaners. Some people buy, specific granite cleaners or You can use it to replace floor cleaners. People love it because
Mhm.
the smell is a major issue with the floor cleaners, as I'm sure
Yes.
you experienced.
Mhm.
Um, and this you don't have to rinse, so you can skip that whole
Mhm.
test. It is an amazing deodorizer. The reason it's such a good deodorizer is because it's such an effective germ killer. And so, what makes odors? It's bacteria, mold, mildew. So those are the things that create odors. And because this kills them so well, that's why it's a great deodorizer. So you could skip your deodorizer too, all your like bathroom cleaners, you can get rid of that stuff. So yeah, there is like a lot of simplicity that you get by just moving to force of nature. That's one of the things people love about it. And because it kills the germs, you can forget your bleach and your toilet bowl cleaner and all of that stuff too.
Yeah, we use it for everything. I mean, in our bathroom, it cleans toilets inside and out, inside trash cans, bath and shower. Even like you said, like if our we went away and our uh shower curtains, we came back and they smelled kind of musty.
Oh,
And so we just spritzed them down and it helped with that. Floors, like I have a spray mop from Norwex, and so
oh,
we use it for our mop. So it's we dump it in and we just spritz it all over our floor for our mop. We use it on everything. We have a dog that piddles everywhere in my house.
oh, mm,
And so we use it for that. In my workout space, I keep it in there and I spray all my mats down and everything in there. Um,
amazing.
we have it everywhere. We literally use it everywhere. I have two girls who work for me in my pig business, and the first thing I show them is how to fill the force of nature, how to use the
Wow.
electrolyzer. This is the first thing we learn because I can't be there to make it for you all the time, so you need to learn to make it yourself. It's easy. It's so easy. It takes 2 seconds, but um, so we have it in the kitchen, we have it in the bathroom, we have it in the mudroom, we have it downstairs in our pig space. So we literally use it everywhere, including in our cars. So if we clean our cars, that's what
Oh,
we use.
yep.
Mirrors, like you said, like light, everything, everything in our we have one product that we use. And I think, oh, here's the real test. So I have two boys, 15 and excuse me, 16 and 11, and their bathroom
Oh,
stinks.
you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. And why? I'm always like, but how can you use it like this? Why
Yeah.
don't you want to clean it?
Yeah.
Why am I the one? Yeah.
In the bowl. Get it
Mm.
in the bowl. That's
Why it's apparently not as easy as you and I would think.
I guess not. I guess not. But the smell of urine in that
Yep.
bathroom can get so bad. And so using that, we don't have to, it cleans. It
And
cleans
do
the
you make
rest.
them do it? I
I
make
sure
my son
do.
do it.
I
Yeah.
sure do.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I I want my boys to be good husbands, so I make them do everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Likewise.
I
Mm-hmm.
wash and fold their laundry, but that is about it. They have to put it
Yeah.
away. They have to clean their bathroom. They have to clean their rooms. They both have chores, and we have a homestead, so they have a lot of chores outside too.
Mm.
And but yeah, they're good workers, but that force of nature in the boys' bathroom is a lifesaver because
It's critical.
I couldn't even walk past it if we didn't have something to help with the deodorizing in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And the other thing that always perplexes me is the clothes on the floor within like a foot of the
Good
hamper.
grief,
Like,
yes.
or the trash, like throwing the trash and it lands next to the trash
Yeah.
and you don't notice that? I don't know. I
It
guess
doesn't
they grow
bother
out of
you?
that, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, fortunately, their bathroom is also our guest bathroom, so anytime someone comes over, it has to get cleaned. And
Love it.
it's a good thing, because otherwise,
Hmm.
if I didn't have to walk by it, then I don't even know how bad it would get.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't also, I've tried just being at peace with it not being up to my standards, but I know it's there, even if I don't go in there, and I can't not, I'm too much of like a clean freak to be able to deal
Yeah.
with that psychologically.
Yes, I can't stand it, and I don't go in there often. Like, I don't use that bathroom because I use my bathroom,
Hmm.
and and it's clean, you know? You walk in
Yeah.
and it feels fresh, and you walk in their bathroom, it's like, "Oh my gosh, it looks like a bomb went off." How do you
Mm.
get toothpaste on the light fixture? You know,
Oh,
how do you get I don't know. I don't know.
mm,
But
yeah.
I'm sad for my boys to grow up and move away, but a nice clean bathroom that stays
Same.
clean is,
Hmm.
that's a perk. That's
Yep.
definitely a perk.
Yes.
So, yes, I mean, first the all-purpose cleaner is in our house, it's a staple. Like, we love it. We all use it.
Oh,
When
I'm
it
so
runs
glad.
out, we all know how to make it. So we actually keep like 4 bottles of spray on the counter at all times. And
Nice.
I know it's only good for like about 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
After you run it through
Yes.
the electrolyzer, but
Hmm.
it never lasts that long. So we're pretty good there.
Excellent.
Now, one thing I do want to mention is, we've talked about how you make the I don't know why I can't keep the all-purpose spray in my mind, but we talked about how we make the all-purpose spray. It has an electrolyzer.
Yep.
Um, you talked about the little capsules of the vinegar and salt that you put in the water and how it replaces so many other products. But what about the price? Is the price
Ah,
economical to other brands?
okay. So yeah, that's an excellent question because you do have sort of a startup cost with the appliance because you're, buying the appliance
Mhm.
to start with. So it is you save money very quickly. So it's only 8 cents an ounce, which is a lot cheaper than like if you go on Amazon, you'll probably see like Lysol disinfectant spray is probably like 44 cents an ounce. You'll see like Method or like seventh generation, those are probably around 20 cents. 409 is double what ours is. So you definitely end up saving money, which is why a lot of people really love it too, because everything else is super expensive right now. And there are a lot more fun things to spend money on than your cleaning products, let's face it.
Mhm. That is so
So
true.
yes,
Yes.
you can, and it's a lot of the across all different categories, but ours too. The like less toxic, more natural stuff is always priced at a premium. And I
Yes.
was like, when we were developing this, I was like, why? That's crazy. We don't
Mhm.
have to. Like, let's actually make this accessible to more people by having it be lower cost than the
Mhm.
toxic stuff. Like that should not be a barrier to buying healthier products.
Yeah, and I always see you guys always have great promotions. So,
Yep.
I mean, I feel like you run one at all times. So,
We do a lot. Yeah, to
yeah.
get people excited about buying the appliance because we know it's like people are like, well, I have to buy an appliance to start with this, so we want to make it accessible to get started with it.
Mhm. Yeah, which makes perfect sense. And when you think about the word appliance, it sounds intimidating, but really it's not. It's very small, like you said, smaller than a wine bottle. It's easy, it plugs into the wall, it comes with the cord. A lot of things don't come with the cord anymore. And
Yeah,
I
I
I'm like,
know.
what? How can you not come with a cord? So it comes with a cord, and the capsules themselves are the only thing that you have to continuously buy.
Yeah,
And they're not expensive. They're not expensive at
yeah,
all. What are they, like $1 a capsule around
yeah,
there?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, come on. That
And I
they
kind of think it's sort of equivalent to making your coffee in a drip
Hmm.
coffee maker.
Mhm.
Like from a step standpoint, you
Mhm.
like you put in the tap water, you put in something else and you push the button. Like
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
that's
Yeah.
it. And then you just wait, I don't know, it's like 7 minutes or eight
Yeah.
minutes or something, and then it's
Yeah.
done. And then you
Yeah.
can pour it into your spray bottle and you can go to town. So
Yep.
it's very easy and it is cost effective for us. I'm in the program where like the referral program.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
anytime somebody uses my referral code, I automatically, I think, get 20 capsules. And so that program is genius. I love it. Um,
Excellent.
and then I also have like not a membership, but the auto ship.
Oh,
So
yes.
we
Yep.
never run out. We never run out. And if
Wonderful.
we get low, everybody's panicking. So immediately I have to, increase my order. So it's not expensive. We buy like a big bulk order once or twice a year for the most
Hmm.
part, and then
Yep.
and then we're good. So, and
Yeah.
we go through a lot of it. So,
It sounds like it.
yeah,
Thank you.
but it you're keeping our house clean, so thank you. Um, so aside from the all-purpose cleaner, what other kinds of products do you guys offer?
So we, within, I don't know, the last year or so, we launched some non-toxic laundry detergent sheets. So they replace, jugs, liquid laundry detergent sold in jugs or pods, so you don't have, the
Mhm.
plastic going to sit in landfills for 500 years or what have you. They're certified biodegradable. We did third party lab testing again because we know people aren't going to make that change unless they know it's just as effective, and they're just as effective as Tide liquid and pods. So no sacrifice there. People love the space saving aspect because it's like a little box
Mhm.
of sheets versus like the huge jug. There's no measuring, no pouring. Um, so the laundry sheets, we've got two. We've got things like biodegradable cleaning cloths that allow you to replace paper towels. We use so few paper towels in my household now because
Oh.
I just use these cleaning cloths, and it's like a huge cost savings because paper towels are really expensive. Um,
Mhm,
so
yeah.
we have those. And we've got lots more non-toxic, sustainable stuff in the hopper coming
Yay!
soon.
When I was doing the research for this interview, I saw that you guys had laundry sheets. I haven't ordered them yet, but I didn't see the cloths. I need to jump on that bandwagon because we go through a ton of paper towels, a ton.
Oh, so yeah, this is there. You could just throw them in the. You can either do the dishwasher or the laundry
Mm,
machine. And yeah, I mean, it's probably reduced our paper towel use by like 95%.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get some of those. That is a great idea. That's a great idea. I do have some of the cloths from Norwex that they have, but they're more like dish towels, and so people nobody wants to use
Mm,
them on like the dirty, super dirty messes, but I like
right,
this idea a
right.
little bit better for that.
Yes. Yeah, these are not microfiber,
Hmm.
which there's, the microplastic problem, and microfibers can be a problem from an ocean standpoint. So that's the other thing I like about these two. And they're certified biodegradable and compostable if you happen to compost.
Oh,
So
we
you either
do.
option
We
for when they've
absolutely do.
reached the end of their useful lives.
Oh,
Okay.
very nice. Okay. And I'm so glad that you keep mentioning the third party testing because that was something I wanted to ask you about. And it makes perfect sense why you would do that even before trying to sell the product because this is a tough industry. I mean, people are very into their Tide, you know,
Yeah.
they're very into their Lysol. And I do think that there has been in the last couple years, there's definitely been a shift. I don't know, maybe it's just my Instagram that people are really starting to look at new, more sustainable, cleaner ingredient type options. But I can definitely see, I mean, just how valuable something like this would be. Um, everybody needs to ditch those toxic chemicals.
Yeah.
They're making us sick. And so this is a great option. And just because I just want to re-emphasize this, are all your products safe for kids and pets?
Yes. Yeah. So it's really core to our company mission, which we're trying to end the compromise between cleaning and health for families and the planet. So that's kind of the filter that we use for everything. And if you if you are creative enough and look around deeply enough, there are plenty of technologies that are allow you to do that. You just have to be willing to break the mold. So like, yes, people were used to using cleaners that only came in bottles and sat on store shelves. And we took a risk and said, you know what, we think it'll be worth it to people to change their habits and make it in an appliance. And you can make that happen, but you just have to be willing to do things differently. And it is a bit of a risk because sometimes it requires habit change. Like the laundry sheets, that's a habit change. People have
Mhm.
always used liquids. Um, so it's just a matter of, and there are like, if you can educate people as to, no, you don't have to make a sacrifice on the cleaning efficacy that you need, but you can get all these other great benefits.
Mhm.
And it's, not going to cost you more money. People are
Mhm.
there, that's
Yep.
what they want. But
Mhm.
people like Just Ingredients, I love her so much.
Mhm.
Like the education that she provides and people like her, like it's making us all much savvier about the products that we choose.
Yeah, she's been a huge influence on a lot of the changes that we've made in our family. And people like her are so valuable. And this is where social media is incredible and just so awesome because I've learned things there that I never learned anywhere else or really don't have the
Hmm.
opportunity to learn anywhere else. So
Yep.
it's very cool to be able to have that platform to learn those things from, that and watch
Agree.
cute animals.
Yes. Totally.
Now, you guys do something that I really admire, and it's that you donate 1% of your sales to four amazing nonprofits that are committed to improving health and wellness for children, women, and our planet. Would you share those four options that people can choose at checkout where they want theirs to go towards?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. These are four really, really great organizations. So one is called Fighting Pretty, and they help women fighting cancer. Another one is called Room to Grow, which provides caregivers with essential baby and toddler items. Another one is called One Tree Planted. They plant trees to combat deforestation. And then the fourth one is called Our Children, and it assists children of incarcerated mothers. So it's four very different, but
Mhm.
totally within our realm organizations, and you can choose the one that you like best when you're checking out.
I think that is so awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. I'm sure you've participated. You're like our number one customer, apparently, I've learned. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Melissa, this has been so much fun talking to you. I love getting to hear all the behind the
Same.
scenes things from your company because I am a fan. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to us and share all your awesome products with us. I so appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. This has been the best part of my day, I'm telling you.
I'm so glad. Oops.